Hey everyone, Professor Snart just checking in after the due date for Unit 2 has passed, and so I'm just going to click into our due dates here. So Thursday, September 2nd, the Unit 2 Creation Myths was due, and now we move on to Unit 3, the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Aeneid, due Thursday, September 9th. So we're kind of into a regular Thursday due date pattern. Just a couple things then. You can look in the My Grades link to see that you got credit for completing the assignment for Unit 2. And again, so what I'm looking for in the essays, and there were many really excellent ones, and you can read them all so you can see really some of the interesting ideas that people are putting forward and the attention to detail and that kind of thing. Again, I'm looking for an interesting thesis that's focused on the works that we've read, the development of at least 3 body paragraphs. So again, the sort of traditional 5-paragraph essay is what you're looking for. The development within those body paragraphs of particular ideas clearly related to the thesis, and then in each of the body paragraphs, I'm looking for quotation from the readings that we've done. Maybe not all readings in every paragraph, but direct quotation from the actual texts themselves. So think of, in terms of my perspective, what I read for is evidence that you have done the readings from the textbook closely enough to have encountered some of the basic ideas, and also to have gone back then and found particular quotations to support the ideas you're developing. I don't provide feedback largely because, like I said before, we're not really interested in or concerned with basic issues of, mechanics and grammar and MLA citation and those kinds of more compositional aspects, unless the grammar or mechanics become such an issue that it really impedes the communication of your ideas. So that really is only an issue in very kind of extreme circumstances. For the most part, I'm not concerned with grammatical sentence level kinds of things. And as you can read, there's some really polished essays that are coming out here in the discussion board. If you want further feedback, obviously just be in touch with me. And the only other thing that might have gone a little awry for some people is if you waited till the last minute, and I saw a lot of Thursday at 9 p.m. and later kinds of posts, remember there's a reply component as well. So, I mean, in the unit, it's even highlighted, I think. Yeah, so there's the what mythology can tell me, the discussion board essay that you posted, and then the assignment. Once you have completed your essay post, you must respond to at least 2 other classmates, again, a thoughtful paragraph. So lots of people, of course, did this and identified, similar ideas or maybe slightly different takes on a similar topic or that kind of thing. So all in all, those are really well done as well. So again, check your grades to see what you got, make sure everything's kosher, and then if you have questions, just be in touch with me. Often we can sort things out, or I can give you a little more feedback if you're concerned. And of course, we have lots of these to go, so there's lots of sort of points available for the class. So even if you kind of fumble up one unit, it's by no means the end of your grade for the class. Okay. So Unit 3, we begin with the Star Trek clip, perfect, right? Having to do with the Epic of Gilgamesh. And of course the clip deals with this notion that we're actually thinking about for the unit of myths or the epics and the universality of epics as ways of myth making for various cultures and how they might focus on a particular individual or hero, but often they embody kind of the values of a particular culture. What's really interesting to read is that so often we think of the hero as, this very pristine and right-thinking and correctly motivated character, and we think of the anti-hero, right, the main character, but someone who doesn't follow the prototypical heroic stereotype. This notion of the anti-hero is a fairly new invention. It's part of sort of modern culture. But we can read the story of Gilgamesh and see a pretty compromised hero in many ways. I mean, he's hardly a guy you'd want to hang out with on a regular basis, maybe. I mean, he's pretty impressive in many ways, but also sort of an ass in a lot of other ways. So it's interesting how we run into, even in the earliest incarnations of heroes and their epic stories, a real kind of complexity in terms of character and narrative development and that sort of thing. So again, we can fall into the trap of feeling like complex storytelling is really a modern invention, but clearly we can see it back to the earliest kinds of epics that people were either writing or stories that were being spread orally. I mean, there's real narrative nuance and complexity and character depth, and so just because it's old doesn't mean it's simple or straightforward. The other thing that's really fascinating to think about as we get into our unit on epics and notions of hero is who or where the modern epic is told. And it's really interesting that the place to go for epic, heroic narratives are graphic novels and comics, and then those get made into movies that become really successful, like the whole Spider-Man trilogy, and Batman is another good example. In fact, Batman is a great modern example of the compromised hero, right? We are often asked to question his motivation and his own, the sort of moral rightness and purity almost of what he's doing. So another one of those compromised and complex characters that come to us from this very long tradition of epics and the heroes that populate those epics. So a very interesting unit, and I hope you enjoy the readings. Okay, I better stop this before it gets too long. Again, I'll check in soon, and if you have questions about obviously the work that we're doing or some of the grading stuff, by all means just be in touch with me.